In episode 33, we're tasting the Nikka All Malt, a blended malt Japanese whiskey, which is a whiskey you can't buy anymore. Wonderful.
Yeah, enjoy. Ends with the US presidential race getting decided today. Hopefully. We talk about some past presidential whiskey stories.
And as always, you can always see some more whiskey-based content on all our social media platforms. Maybe cast your vote over our way at Whiskey and Things Podcast on Instagram and at Whiskey and Things on Facebook and Twitter.
And it would help us out if you rate, review and subscribe on your favourite and least favourite and all the ones in between podcast platforms.
You're listening to the Whiskey and Things Podcast with Dave Giles and Nick Kent.
Welcome to episode 33 of Whiskey and Things, the podcast. I'm Dave Giles.
And I'm Nick Kent. And wow, what an election. What election night.
I know. God. Who saw that coming?
Got to say congratulations to the old guy and commiserations to the
old guy?
Other old guy. It was close.
Oh, yeah. We probably shouldn't laugh because someone's going to be upset, but...
Well, we don't know what happened.
We don't know. Yeah, we're
Monday.
We're recording this Monday, so we have no idea. But yes.
No idea.
Yes. So. By the time this has come out, I would not have slept.
Are you staying up all night to watch it?
Oh, I always do. Always do.
Yeah.
Love an election night.
Yeah. So election night, Super Bowl. What else do you stay up for in America?
I don't stay up for the Super Bowl. I've never been a Super Bowl person.
I've tried a few times. It's tough.
So do you remember when my album came out back in 2018 and the band were over?
Yes.
There was a midterm election for the Congress and Senate.
Wow.
And Dina and I stayed up. We were like, the tour started the next day. We stayed up till 6 o'clock watching the results come.
Amateurs.
Yeah, exactly. And then she slept the whole week, being, oh man, she'd never recovered from that. And I was having to do everything. And every time she moaned she was tired, I'd be like,
fiddle players.
Yeah,
fiddle
exactly.
players, mate.
Anyway, you doing all right?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. I'm looking forward to this episode and reading. Let's just say that.
There's a lot of reading, is there?
Well, everyone knows I love Japanese words.
This is why I make you read them. Yeah, man, in the Space Podcast last week, we had some Russian names. It just was like, nope. I didn't even know if it's Sergei or Sergei. I have no idea.
It's Sergei.
See, I didn't even say it right.
I could tell you that.
Anyway.
Shall we rush into this next section?
Oh, very good. Very good.
Thanks.
Yes.
Sting
me.
That's why I'm here.
Whiskey bots, roll out.
Yeah, it doesn't work unless you say the word Russian. Like, stop rushing, Dave. But, hey, another podcast day.
Yeah,
you can use that. You can use that on Space and Things this week.
I have to try and remember. Next time
I can't believe you didn't use it last week. If you're talking about Russians.
Look, we all know you're the funny one. I just laugh and it makes people laugh. That's it.
It's a fine talent.
I'm the one with the stupid laugh and you're the funny one.
No, you have an infectious laugh. It's a talent.
Oh, right.
Don't worry about it.
Not as much as Danny Gruff's got the
Danny Gruff.
Anyway, Nick.
Yes, mate.
This week's whiskey.
Nikka All Malt. Blended Japanese malt. Yes.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Good delivery there. Good delivery.
Thanks, mate. It's one of my best. One of my better ones. Interesting one, this. We've been to Japan before. Well, we haven't. But we did... well, it's quite interesting, actually. You know, in the history of this, okay, Nikka was started by... Here we go. Masataka Taketsuru.
That was good. That was very good.
Is that right?
In one. That would have taken me 3 attempts and then you would have had to edit it. But no, You do it in one. Yes. Nice work.
Thanks, mate. Who, I'm not going to say it again, is thought of as the father of Japanese whiskey, apparently. We mentioned him briefly back in episode 23 when we were talking about the Suntory Hibiki. I didn't mention his name back then.
Was that really 10 episodes? Was that 10 eepisodes ago?
Yeah, I know. Amazing, right? Yeah.
That seems like yesterday.
Apparently, unless I read my own thumbnail wrong earlier. Because he helped launch Suntory, or at least one of their distilleries. He was a guy who we mentioned who studied in Scotland, came back and helped Suntory launch their first whiskey, which was too much like a Scotch for the Japanese palate, so it didn't do too well.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that.
That was this guy. His family background was in brewing sake in Japan, which he majored in, but in 1918, he made his way to Scotland with the ambition of making his own genuine, if you're from England, whiskey. He enrolled in the University of Glasgow, where he took chemistry. Then over the next few years, he was an apprentice in 3 Scotch distilleries, learning how to produce whiskey as well as blend it, before returning to Japan in 1920 with his new Scottish wife, Jessie Roberta, or Rita, as she was known. He made a few whiskies later on in his career for her, which is very lovely.
Oh, nice.
Yes, we'll go into that in another episode.
I thought you were going to go into Mambo number 5 there. A little bit of Jesse.
Little bit of Rita by my side. With a single malt. Anyway, but yeah, unfortunately, the company that invested in him, or, sponsored him to go to Scotland, had to abandon their plan to start whiskey production due to the recession after the First World War. But another company called Kotu Bakiya Limited,
very good,
were also looking for someone to help them start their whiskey production. And as he was the only Japanese person who knew how, they hired Masataka in 1923 to overlook the building of the Yamazaki distillery. Now, we've heard that name before.
We have.
And the production of their first whiskey under the name Suntory.
Of course.
So the Suntory whiskey Shirafuda, or the white label, single malt, was launched in 1929. That's the one we mentioned earlier, which didn't sell well.
Imagine being the only person in Japan who knows how to do whiskey.
I know.
I mean, that's pretty crazy, isn't it? Interestingly, though, I do not know the history of the involvement of Japan in World War I, and that's made me think I need to look up that.
Me either, actually.
As you said that, I was like, World War I, Japan was World War II. Well, they must have been in World War I then, because you said it.
Because I said it.
You did say it.
I got it.
So it must be true.
Yeah, it must be true.
It must be true.
Internet.
Must be true. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Anyway, I don't know anything about Japan in World War I.
No.
So clearly,
well, they started making whiskey, mate. Apparently.
Now I know.
There you go. Yes.
Now I know.
Anyway, that didn't sell well. Boo. He left in 1934 to build his own distillery in, how do you pronounce that? Yochi Hokkaido. Oh, God. If you're listening to this and you know how they're meant to be pronounced, answers on a postcard, please.
It's the same as the Scottish places, though. Islay, Islay, it's the same. It's the same thing. Places basically wherever whiskey is made has weird names. Yes. Simple.
Yeah,
right, anyway, carry on.
But yeah, he chose that place because of the climate and humidity was close to what it was in Scotland. Well, probably still is, to be fair. So after a few years of making apple juice, while he was getting his whiskey act together.
Interesting.
Including designing and building his first pot still in 1936. He launched the first Nikka whiskey in 1940, Dave. Success.
Yes. So, and that was a good one, was it?
Don't know yet.
So now Nikka and Suntory are
competing
rivals.
Yeah.
But he was the foundation of both, essentially, in terms of how they made whiskey.
Yeah. Interesting stuff. That's why he's kind of a bit of a famous dude. Unfortunately, his wife Rita died in 1961, a few years later, so they had a successful business up to then and beyond. And over the following years, they imported coffee stills or column stills from Scotland to start producing grain whiskey, which is widely used in blending, etc. Yes, and then Masataka Taketsuru himself died in 1979 at the age of 85 and was buried in Yochi next to his wife, Rita. So yes, nice little story there.
Did I ever tell you about when I went to Arlington in Washington, D.C., which ties in with our election chat because President Kennedy's there, right? It's a military cemetery, so a lot of them are men. There are women there, but most of the women there are there as wives and they're in the same plot.
Okay.
But oddly enough, it amazed me how many of the gravestones said, "Here lies Charles with his beloved wife, Rita," names in my head.
Yeah.
Underneath that, with his beloved wife, Eleanor.
Wow.
Underneath that.
There's 3 of them in there.
Sometimes, yeah. It was like, but yeah, obviously remarried, but because Arlington has got some prestige behind it, both the wives wanted to go in there.
Oh, that's weird.
It is a bit weird, isn't it?
Because you don't... Okay, there's all kinds of questions spring to mind with that one.
But also, the wedding vows are till death do us part. So technically, once you die, those vows are over anyway. So in heaven, you're not married anymore.
Right. So what are they meant to do? Hang on. So obviously he would have died after the... Oh, I don't know how it works, Dave. There's so many questions.
Yeah.
So many questions.
Exactly.
Who died first? Anyway.
It amazed me how many. It was a bit of a distraction there, but...
Right. No,
you're
fine. I'll stop the music now. They now own like 8 distilleries, making a variety of spirits. 2 of them making the whiskey, the Yochi Distillery and the Maya Geico. I'm going to pronounce it like that because I like the Geico Gecko. I think he's a Cockney, the Geico Gecko. Anyway, they both make whiskies with different character. They both make single malts with pot stills. Loads of pot stills. There's some pictures on their website. They're amazing. Massive great things. And Maya Geico, as I'm calling it, distillery, also uses column stills, the coffee stills I was talking about earlier, to produce grain whiskey.
Right.
Interestingly, they also own the Ben Nevis distillery up in Fort William.
Really?
Yeah, which I've been. It's a great day out if anyone can go there at any point. But yes, that kind of brings us up to date. I'm telling you about the stills because that's quite important when it comes to this Nikka whiskey. But
so when they're saying coffee stills,
yeah,
that's something to do with like the drink coffee, right? Is that a different thing or?
Yeah,
or
completely different thing. The column still is another. You've seen these lovely pot stills we see in the romantic pictures, and they usually make the single malts. Single malts or bourbons or whatever. It varies. Anyway, that's usually it. Column stills or continuous distillation is another way of making whiskey, which is usually for grain whiskies, which usually go into blends. Coffee, because it was not invented by, but kind of perfected and patented or patented, wherever you are in the world, by Enos Coffee.
Oh, so it's like our friend Dan Coffee.
Yes.
That spelling of
like
coffee
with
Dan
a Y
coffee.
at the end. He patented it back in 1830.
Okay, cool. So that's similar to, all makes sense.
Yes, it's a man. It's a man, I tell you.
But yes. While we're talking about stills, I'm going to give you another digression here, Nick.
Oh, please.
Just because I know you love my digressions.
Cue the music.
Lucy and I were looking up a whiskey company because we saw that Jeff Whiskey had been had been tasting the Oxford Artisan Rye whiskey. So it's a Oxford Artisan distillery, and they have the rye, and their stills are designed to look like submarines.
How?
It's amazing. It's like like the old divers helmets.
Yeah.
That have like the big. They're like that. It's amazing. It's amazing.
So they got a huge window.
We have to go down there.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, they've got a window. I don't know what that does to the whiskey, but anyway, we have to go there and we have to try their rye because it looks amazing and their processing looks great. Anyway, we digress. It's nothing to do with what we're doing this week, but I thought you'd like that. I just wanted to plant that seed in your head that you might want to look that
Dave's digressions.
Hashtag Dave's digressions.
Anyway, let's get into this. I'm parched.
Okay, yeah, of course. It's been sitting here. Now, I've been sitting on this bottle for a while now. This was bought for me by a good friend, Hannah Beasley, whose name we've heard before. And
it's mentioned every week.
This at the start of 2019, when I was on tour, and was not much left. It's a cracking shaped bottle. It's kind of like, how would you describe that, Nick? Because it's just this small round thing, but has these little grooves. I don't really know what they're for.
No, yeah, it's kind of round and bulbous. You know what it looks like to me? It looks like one of those baby sippy cups, but without the actual handles, which go all the way through.
Yes, that's exactly what it looks like. Annoyingly, no cork. It's just a screw top, which I find interesting.
Yeah.
And kind of almost cheapens it a little bit for me. But not that that's a reflection on the whiskey.
It's about what's inside, Dave.
But yeah, you kind of would expect something like this to have a cork. But yeah, it is about what's inside. The colour is a very distinct orange.
It is orange.
It's orange, isn't it? It's like Iron Brew.
Maybe not that orange,
but it's getting there.
It's not Cheetos. It's not Cheetos orange either.
It's the most orange we've had, in my opinion.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
But yeah, it's very orange. So yeah, it says Malt 100 whiskey. And so what's that all about then, Nick?
This is what's interesting about this bottling and about what Nikka do. You know, earlier on I was talking about they had the pot stills in one distillery, and as well as the pot stills in the other distillery, they had the coffee stills we're talking about.
Yes.
Well, usually the coffee stills are used to distill whiskey made from different grains, for the blending, etc.
Right.
But they've done something a bit different where they have also done 100% malted barley through the coffee stills as well.
Right.
Which isn't like something which is very...
it's not what's technically done.
It's not what's usually done. But it's a thing.
Yeah.
I don't think it can technically be called a single malt or anything because it's still a blend of two different distilleries.
Yep.
You know, but also because they're using a coffee still. So this is technically called a vatted malt or a blended malt whiskey, which is like, you know, like you get from Scotland a lot. Because they do other ones in their range. They have one called the coffee malt, which is just from that column still, I think, the coffee still with them 100% malted barley. And they also do the coffee grain, which is, you know, a grain whiskey as well. Anyway, should we get our noses in this, Dave?
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Good Lord.
Nick, we just talked about the colour. Is this a natural colour?
No, I think they do use colouring in this.
Oh, right, okay.
So,
right.
But then it may not be, again, to get the colour they want. It's probably maybe just for consistency across the range. That's why a lot of companies do it.
Okay.
Some companies do to make it darker, but we don't know.
You said doo-doo. On the nose, this either reminds me of the few bourbon we did or the baby bourbon. I can't remember which one.
You're getting bourbon from this. Amazing.
Yeah. It's the one that was it 100% corn? Was there one that was 100% corn?
That was the baby bourbon.
What's the baby bourbon? It reminds me of that on the nose.
Yes, the spirit drink. The baby bourbon, which was a spirit drink because in the EU it wasn't allowed to be called a whiskey or something like that. Anyway.
It does remind me a bit of that. I'm getting corn, that dry corn, even popcorn maybe.
Okay.
When I first opened the bottle this evening, what jumped out was vanilla.
Yep.
I got a load of vanilla, and now I'm getting this. It's sat here for a while, and I'm getting a bit of corn there.
Okay. I'm not getting any corn. Not just because there's no corn in it. You know, this is 100% malted barley, of course. But, But you smell what you smell, mate.
I do smell what I smell. I smell bad today. Anyway, that's a different thing.
Yeah. What I'm getting is it's a cake. It's kind of malty for me, a cake, but not like a malt cake. It's like a vanilla birthday cake with no icing.
Oh, yeah.
But no, do you remember the pound cake?
What's a pound cake? I don't remember what a pound cake is.
It's kind of
from
like
the pound shop.
No, it's just a plain cake. It's really weird.
Right, okay.
It's just a brown,
like a Victoria sponge.
Yeah, but with
it's
nothing.
brown, is it?
Well, it's brown on the outside. It's like It's like a Victoria sponge, but just the sponge and nothing's been done to it.
Oh, no, so no cream, no jam.
Absolutely nothing. Right, okay. It's just a thick bit of sponge, which you just, For me, that's kind of...
100%. Definitely getting that now you've said that.
Kind of pound cake.
There's a bit of Battenberg in there as well. You getting that?
Okay, yeah. Before you said that, I was about to say, it's a bland cake, everyone. Whoa! Oh, hello.
Nice nosings, gentlemen.
Oh, thank you.
I like the pound cake note, Nicholas.
Thank you very much.
I found something similarly interesting on the palate.
Really? Okay, well, why don't you take it from here then and let us know.
Entertain us.
With pleasure. Nikka All Malt. Tasting notes. On the palate. Subdued yet plush. Spicy and sweet. The typical raisin character you find in many blended malts is present here, which follows well with a sort of dark and creamy chocolate cake. There are citrus notes that are also sweet, like caramelized sugar and orange zest. A little black pepper spice attempts to balance it all out. On the finish, this whiskey is soft-spoken and is confident in its brevity. Rich oakiness is abound, balanced with those sweet fruit and citrus notes, rejuvenated by just a little smoky spice. Overall, this whiskey is quick, sweet, and rich. Nikka All Malt. Ta-ta.
Right, after hearing that, I want to have a taste. Don't know about you, Nick. Get my lips around this whiskey and things, Glencairn.
Oh.
This tastes nothing like it smells.
No, you're right.
This is so completely different as an experience to drink than it is to smell.
Hang on, I'm going in for another one.
I need to as well.
It is quite spicy.
It so confused me. I was expecting something completely different.
Yeah, it is quite spicy.
Based on what we were smelling.
I'm getting a bit of raisin. Now the kind of malty, raisiny loaf stuff comes out. It's more malt on the palate. Black pepper.
Absolutely. Black pepper. 100%. 100% it's black pepper.
Yeah.
That's almost all I can taste. That's quite overpowering.
It doesn't hang around long.
Not a long finish.
There's an ongoing tingle. It's a very pleasant tingle.
Yeah.
Oh, it's everywhere. It's all over my teeth now. It's nice though. This is a 40%, so not massive. Unfortunately, I don't think our listeners can actually buy this anymore. I think it's ceased to exist.
After all that.
Merry Christmas. It would have been like 38, 40 quid or something. You think you get a cork for that?
You'd expect a cork for that, really, wouldn't you?
Wouldn't you?
I like this, though. This is special. This is nice. This is different from other things we've had, which I like.
Yeah.
I like it when people do things different.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting process. I'm not, it's not blowing me away. If it was available, I wouldn't rush out and buy this one, to be honest. I'd spend 40 quid on something else before I went out to buy this. It's nice. It's pleasant. Somebody, handed me a glass. I'm not going to turn my nose up at it.
Well, I'll be brutally honest, Nick. I'm pretty sure you've had most of this bottle. I'm fairly sure
Doesn't sound like me.
you who's drunk most of this.
Doesn't sound like me at all. Well, I thought, hey, this one's got a screw top. It must be the cheap stuff. He won't mind if I polish this off. No, it's not me. What are you talking about? Absolutely not.
I do like this. I think there's a quality to it which I like. If it reminds me to drink, it reminds me of Monkey Shoulder.
I was about to say something similar. I'd rather get a Monkey Shoulder.
Oh, interesting.
It reminds me of the Monkey Shoulder, but
we like the Monkey Shoulder.
Yeah, I know, right, but this isn't blowing me away. And for the price, again, it's come all the way from Japan, so you can kind of expect that. But if you're going for a blended malt, you go malt and Monkey Shoulder all the way.
I've just noticed something on the bottle, Nick.
Oh, yeah.
The still is on the...
Oh, look at that.
Look at that.
For the listeners, there is a little kind of embossed pot still with a descending line arm. Interesting.
No, Nick, I do like this. Yeah, fair enough. You want something different? That's fine. If this was still available, I wouldn't object to buying this for someone as a gift and saying, try this. Like, people are going to enjoy it.
Yeah, no, it's a nice whiskey. I'm not shooting it out of the sky. But there's other things I'd spend 40 quid on, luckily, because you can't get it anymore.
Is it just because you're frustrated with how many words you had to say today?
I think I left some out. Oh, dear. Anyway.
I did prefer the Hibiki, but the Hibiki is a lot more expensive than this, in fairness.
Yes.
So we should have enjoyed the Hibiki.
Yeah, and that's a blend of all kinds of grains and stuff. So
also, I mean, maybe a bit unfair to compare the two, but they're the two Japanese whiskies we've done, which is why I'm doing that.
Yeah, no, they're very different, very different. Like the Hibiki is a lot more floral, a lot more delicate.
Yes.
I'd say this is heavier, oilier.
Our friend Dean swears by the coffee grain, though. He says it's amazing. Dean DeChoso.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he loves the coffee grain. I'm pretty sure that's one he has regularly.
Interesting. Well, that might make sense for him. It's predominantly made from corn in coffee still, which is very bourbon.
Yeah.
And Dean DeChoso loves his bourbon.
He does, because it cuts through the fat of those barbecue meats.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Right, are we done with this? Let's move on.
Yeah, sure.
Should we move on? There we go, everyone.
Yeah.
A whiskey you cannot buy. Enjoy.
So, in honour of
the old guy,
the fact there's just been a US
winning the election.
Yeah. Nick did some research on this, and he's found a few articles about previous presidents and their favourite whiskies. Now, he sent them over to me, and I've enjoyed this. It reminded me of when we learnt about the Speaker of the House of Commons having his own blend of whiskey.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Remember the Speaker Select or whatever it was called?
Yeah.
Which makes, annoyingly, none of this, what we're about to talk about, they don't have a President Select. Now, you think they're missing a trick there?
The first one on the list kind of does-ish for one of the presidents. But but
it's not official President of the United States of America merchandise, whereas the Speaker one is House of Commons.
Have you looked into that?
Isn't it?
Have you looked into that?
No, I haven't.
There might be a President's Bourbon. We don't know. There might be a gift shop at the West Wing.
Oh, man.
Imagine
West Wing. Don't get me started.
Dave loves The West Wing.
Yeah.
Aaron Sorkin at his finest.
Well, 100%. Well, the first 4 seasons, yeah. The last 3 weren't him, but still very good. Still very good.
So get into these Presidentes.
Have we got President Bartlett on there?
Presidentes.
No. Anyway. Yeah, so who have we got, Nick? So we've got Thomas Jefferson.
Thomas Jefferson. Yes, he has a bourbon named after him. The founding father, and first to sign the American Declaration of Independence, is so revered. He has a whole line of whiskies named in his honor. Small batch bourbon producer Jefferson, the smallest family-owned distillery in Kentucky, apparently, named its bourbons after the ultimate Renaissance man, Thomas Jefferson, and Sam Houston. Who's Sam Houston?
I don't know, but it was probably Houston. Because if you think of in New York, it's not Houston Street, is it? It's Houston Street.
It is, yes. Isn't that how you spell Houston, Texas, though?
It is. I know it's the same spelling.
Yeah.
But
it may be Houston. Answers on a postcard, please, if you have any Americans listening. Anyway, who stand for boldness, integrity, and character, just like their whiskey, apparently. Jefferson produces a range of whiskies named after the former president, including the Jefferson's Reserve, Jefferson's Presidential Select, which is what I was referring to earlier, and Jefferson's Straight Rye Whiskey, made from 100% rye. That's a spicy meatball, Dave, that one. He wasn't Italian. So,
interesting. So I'm just looking up some stuff about
Houston.
Jefferson.
Or Houston.
Yeah. He ran against John Adams and had two terms as president. He also died on Independence Day.
That's a bit shit.
It's a bit weird.
Too much whiskey. Celebrate.
So he was the third president of the US. He's one of the 4 faces on Mount Rushmore.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Along with Washington and Lincoln and Theodore Roosevelt, I think.
I've never been. Have you been there?
I've never been either. It's in South Dakota.
Probably.
But yeah, that's good whiskey, that. We need to try that one, I think.
Yeah, there's a few on this list we need to try.
Yeah. A couple of the Jefferson ones. But
Jefferson Aeroplane. But yes, another guy who's on the Mount Rushmore, George Washington. He actually had his own distillery.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure we talked about that. I'm sure that was one of the whiskies we talked about. He had a connection to it. Sure of it. Michter's, maybe?
I don't know. It was so long ago.
I think it was Michter's.
You reckon?
Yeah, okay. yeah.
We'll look that up.
You read through and I'll look it up.
Well, yes, George Washington, he built, what a legend, and ran his own whiskey distillery at Mount Vernon, Virginia, which is still in operation today. Only 7 months a year, though, apparently. Now, they do small batch, not Four Roses small batch, actual small batch, I think. It's a wheat-based whiskey, similar to the kind Washington himself sold. They do a rye whiskey, a 3-year-old. They do one which pays homage to his original recipe, which contains 60% rye and is bottled straight from the stills. That's interesting. I mean, it's a moonshine. Good Lord. Yeah, both whiskies are sold through the Mount Vernon's gift shop. So you can't even buy it anywhere. You have to go to the gift shop after the production finishes. And apparently buyers line up outside the distillery to get their hands on the bottle. Yeah, $180 a bottle, mate. That's not cheap. No. It wants to be good for that. Is that just because of the association with, obviously, they only make it for 7 months of the year. So, but yeah, that's it. That's it. Like, you can't get it in the shops. It's the only place you can get it. Yes, it's an exclusivity thing. Have you got your fact there? I haven't found out. I'll be brutally honest. I haven't found out. I think it is something to do with Michter's. I think he bought a load of Michter's. But anyway, yeah, I don't know where. Who knows? I probably got that wrong. Yeah, I need to be confident with my facts, apparently, and that's not one. So, yeah. Wow, this episode is fantastic. Now, Knob Creek, Dave. Knob Creek. Creek. So this is another favourite of our friend Dean DiCioso. Oh, Dean DiCioso. Jesus. He loves a shot of knob. He does. So this one, let me do this one, Nick. Right. So Knob Creek Bourbon, which is produced by Beam, is named after the boyhood home of none other than Abraham Lincoln. Did you say Babraham? I did, yes. Wow. The 16th US president that led his country through the American Civil War. He was a Republican, but often people don't know that. He's also on Mount Rushmore. People assume he's a Democrat because he overturned slavery.
He was actually a Republican, a
I've never
liberal
actually thought about
Republican.
it. All the old presidents,
Who
I don't
thought
think about whether they're Democrat or Republican.
Yeah,
Don't know. It's just
there you go.
there you go.
It's rumoured that Lincoln's favourite whiskey was in fact Old Overholt, which was a straight rye whiskey aged for 4 years and thought to be distilled in 1810. It was also owned by Beam. But yeah, Knob Creek has got a connection to Abraham Lincoln.
Well, look at that.
Look at that. Well, we've heard of Knob Creek. You can get that. It's quite cheap as well. So if you've not had, you can actually get it in most bars. And it's one of those things. Can I have a shot of Knob, please? Is a good order.
It's a good order.
Talking of whiskies that you can get behind a bar,
Yeah.
Jim Beam White
Oh, yeah.
was a favourite of W.
W.
Yep. George W. Bush was a big fan of the old Jim Beam White. And there's a rumour going around that apparently his wife once said to him, "You've got to pick the Jim Beam or me."
Wow. It's a tough one.
That's a tough one.
It's a toughie.
He has denied that rumour,
Yeah.
but then he went teetotal after his 40th birthday.
Okay. So what year are we talking then? Before he became president?
Oh, 1986. It was 15 years before he became president in 2001.
Cool. I was going to say, he wasn't like boozing it up while being the president.
No, he wasn't. But I'm
teetotal.
pretty sure there was one president who did like to do that.
Sure there was.
Yeah, was it Harry Truman? Harry Truman would have bourbon for breakfast. Harry Truman, the 33rd president, who took over from FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, when he died at the end of World War II. So that Harry Truman was the guy who dropped the atomic bomb. Fun fact for you there. So he was rumoured to have a novel solution for maintaining his health, which was, in addition to a balanced diet and daily walks, Truman swore by an ounce of bourbon every morning following his regular exercise.
Wow.
So he was starting his day, even when he was president, starting his every day with an ounce of bourbon.
Dude, it sounds a lot like my lifestyle at the moment, to be honest.
Well, hopefully you will live to the ripe old age of 88 like he did. Not too bad. I've got a couple more of these, Nick. Do you want to do Reagan?
Naked Reagan. It's a good band.
Naked Reagan.
Naked Reagan. It's a punk band for anyone who's listening. Yes. Naked Donald Reagan loved his Maker's Mark, apparently. That was famously the choice of the 40th president. Reportedly, when Reagan debated Walter Mondale for the 1984 election, he requested a bottle of Maker's Mark to be left on his hotel room pillow. That's a hell of a mint, Dave.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, the distillery even commissioned a few cases of a special commemorative bottle released when Reagan won the presidency in 1981, the year before I was born. Good Lord.
Nice.
Yes.
You're a child of the Reagan era.
That's weird. Yeah, I guess I am. Yeah.
Reagan and Thatcher.
Naked Reagan.
Mates, what name? There you go. There you go. Right, we got one more. This one I love. I love this one, Nick. Your power mine, Barack Obama.
Yeah, legend.
44th president. He was a big fan of whiskey. The US ambassador to Australia, Jeffrey Bleck, was keen to get Barack Obama hooked on Tasmanian whiskey. Throwback.
Throwback to episode 1, everyone. Oh, yeah. Tasmanian whiskey. Oh, yeah. I know about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So after a visit to Hobart, the ambassador discussed his plans to introduce the Australian produce to the president. He likes a whiskey, Bleck claimed. I've already promised I'm going to bring back some Tasmanian whiskey with me. So
look at that.
But did Obama like it? We don't know.
I'm sure he would have been very polite, if he didn't, and still said he liked it. If if it was a gift.
When we eventually get our Tasmanian whiskey, we can sit back and think of Obama.
Yeah. Hang on, the one in the picture is the Sullivan's Cove. That's the one I see around. I've heard good things about Sullivan's Cove.
Sullivan's Cove.
Oh,
anyway,
dear.
so in honour of the US presidential election,
yes,
there's some fun facts about presidents
and facts
whiskey.
Expertly delivered by 2 amateur podcasters.
This is the Whiskey God, reminding you to please always drink responsibly.
Anyway, Nick, have we got anything else? Have we got any booze round?
Yeah, we've got one thing in. Booze round! I successsually had some Jack and Cokes this week and didn't die.
Yeah!
Thank you. That was this
Winning.
week's Booze round.
Man, that's
There you go.
special.
That's the end of
Absolutely
booze
special.
round.
I'm really proud of you. And pleased for you. Proud
Yeah, I
and
haven't had
pleased.
like an entire bottle like I used to drink. I've had a few drams with some Coke and stuff, and I've missed it. It was nice. It was on offer in Tesco.
Anyway, should we wrap this up?
Yes. Yeah, there
Oh,
it is.
there it is.
Yes, let's
There
get
it
on
is.
with this.
Let's wrap this up. I'd say that's all we got time for this week. It's been a fun show. This is one of those shows where what you'll listen to now, there's no resemblance to how it's gone in the recording process. And whatever Nick has managed to churn out as entertainment here, if you've been entertained, I assure you, he's done a magnificent job.
I'm going to say I got the massive pot of glitter out for this one. And I rolled that turd for miles.
Yes.
I'm nearly back in London. I've had to roll it so far in glitter.
Hopefully some of it has stuck.
We'll see if anything's stuck or what chunks I've had to take out of that turd. I hope you've enjoyed it, listener.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope so too. And obviously we made a few jokes about the election, and elections are quite divisive at the moment.
Yeah.
And whatever the result, there'll be people who are unhappy. It's the very nature of this. There'll be people that are very unhappy. And hopefully, maybe there'll be people that are happy as well. And whatever you're doing, whether you're celebrating or commiserating, please remember to drink responsibly, because some people will probably turn to a bottle. So, yeah, that's the sensible part of the show over with. So Nick, what have we got on next week?
Well, I thought we'd make a complete U-turn from the whiskey we did this week, which you can't buy anymore. So next week, we're doing a new release. We're doing another Mac Mirror.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what you're going to say, listeners, but you did a Mac Mirror a few weeks ago. Yes, we did. We did the Intelligence a few weeks ago, like 3 or 4 weeks ago. Was it a month ago? Anyway, yes, we're doing the Mac Mirror Yak Liquor, which, if people remember, is the bottle I won the evening we recorded the Intelligence episode. So, to be honest, if we knew we were going to have this whiskey, we probably wouldn't have done the Intelligence a few weeks ago. But yes, we're doing a new whiskey, which is a new release, exciting release from Mac Mirror called Yak Liquor, which is Swedish for happy hunting, Dave.
Ah.
Yes, and as well, next week, we've got a fresh, new chat with brand ambassador Richard McKeon.
Oh, friend of the pod, Richard McKeon. I wonder if he'll wear his T-shirt.
Yes. Oh, mate, that T-shirt brought him some good luck.
No.
Yeah, I'll let you know after the show.
I can't wait for that. I can't wait for that.
Next week, Mac Mirror Yak Liquor, which I'm excited about. I haven't actually tried it yet. I've been taking pictures of it and stuff for socials, but
I've seen your pictures.
I've got so many
great,
pictures
mate.
of this bottle. You have no idea. It's very pretty.
So for those of you who don't know, Nick has recently taken over the Instagram. You can tell because the quality of the photos is really...
Well, I got a bit bummed out at the beginning of lockdown, and I just kind of didn't get my camera out for months. I mean, months. And I'm a professional photographer as well, listeners. That's something which normally pays my rent. And I just didn't have any kind of will to kind of get the camera out. But recently I have to start doing some nice pictures of the whiskey bottles and stuff. So, but yeah, I've had fun taking pictures of this one.
Excellent.
So loads more.
Excellent.
Loads more coming.
More on that next week.
Loads more coming next week.
It's nice to do a new release. I mean, everything else we've done so far has just been like either favourites or stuff that's been in our collection, or what's available in the shop. But to actually have an exciting new release, this is a change for us. So
and as well,
it's nice.
if all goes well, we've got a few new releases coming up over the next few weeks as well. Haven't we, Dave? That's quite exciting.
Nice.
Because we've done a few
very
recently,
exciting.
which may have been on your shelf for a while. Again, this week you can't buy, so we apologise for that.
Yes, the All Malt, that is. Yes, so for sure. And don't forget, everything tastes better in a whiskey and things than carrying. So make sure you pick one of them up. There's only 15 of these left at the moment. We probably will, if they sell, we'll probably get some more because they're really smart. So please go and get one. And a T-shirt. We've only got 6 hoodies left and it's cold. So why haven't you bought a hoodie yet? That's what I want to know. And Nick's turned his heating on. You can tell because he's not wearing that shirt like he was wearing last week.
I've got my chest out.
He's got his chest out again. Some people will be happy about that.
Just more comfortable. More comfortable. Got my armpits out too. See, look at that.
Oh, wow. That's moth-eaten. That is a moth-eaten T-shirt.
Nice. All Saints, mate. All Saints. Yeah.
Oh, is that how they're supposed to be, is it?
If you've got any holes in your clothes and people are like, oh, you're a bit scruffy, just say it's from All Saints because they'll believe you.
You know what they say about All Saints? They're very holy. Boom!
Wow. Robin over there. Holy T-shirts, Batman.
What? Pony T-shirts, exactly.
Oh, let's wrap this up. This is going all kinds of wrong. Right.
So thanks for tuning in.
Thanks, everyone.
We'll see you next week. Hopefully we'll be back on form. And Nick won't have quite
we've got
the
a proper
edit
whiskey
job.
person on next week. So yes. Right. Yes, as we always say, Dave.
Cheers. Thanks for coming.
Whiskey and Things has been brought to you by And Things Productions.
W.